Okay, I'm going to do something a bit radical here. I didn't really want to do too much talking in this video because I wanted to hear the toy. Terence here, the fresh 2018 version, is actually a little bit different to the one that preceded it. I'm going to put on a Terence from an earlier version of this classic toy and see if it's not as jumpy as the fresh one, and we'll give it a spin and I'll just let it play out, eh? I'll just get Percy to get some more balls there. Then we'll repeat Terence's action there. Oh, okay. He's actually having trouble. Oh, we're in trouble again. Naughty! I don't want to get too involved in the many changes that are going on here, but Terence's shovel is one of the major changes. The classic shovel's got all its little teeth there, and I noticed on the revamped version of Terence, this area here is actually radically different versus what preceded it. Yes, I know Terence can often be the problem child in this playset, and maybe for the fact he goes a bit wrong is part of the fun. I've had fun giving him a naughty slap every time he wants to play up on me. Absolute classic toy, and if you see this one in the shops, do not let it pass. My warning to you. I think maybe one thing to keep Terence happy is don't give him too many boulders to deal with. I think. Well, Thomas isn't seated properly there, but it doesn't matter. Let's see what happens here. Yes, okay. Yes, he seems to be much happier playing with less to do. That's my only bit of advice on this playset. Apart from that, if only we got more of the classic toys back in the stores, hey Thomas? Just analysing Terence there. Oh, good boy. He's a happy camper now, thank goodness for that. I'll double him up here. See if that causes confusion and delay. Keep going there, yeah, he seems to be fine now, hey? Don't give him too much work, it's my only advice. The big loader set can connect to the big loader set, but can the classic toy be powered by what is a slightly different core to the new big loader set? Let's see if I can cycle this through and get Thomas working on the new part of this playset, which is actually the old playset, at the right time. Yeah, Percy does his business there, nice Percy, and then Thomas will go and play with Terence. Now hopefully not get trapped. I just want this to play out nicely here. And when Thomas does his shuffle here and then dumps the load of coal, I think it's coal, then I can send him back down another way by flicking a switch down here. Sorry for my hand there. Oh, now he's stuck there, didn't know that, sorry. Okay, now the new core is playing out. It'll do a shuffle in there. Oops, we've got troubles already. We've got troubles with Larry, sorry about that, but then again, Larry has been known to be a troublemaker. Very ugly, isn't it, when it gets like that? Yeah, now it's a rogue thing doing its own thing. Let me just do a pickup on the idea here. I've got the core set in the right direction, I hope. And I will do its shuffle in the shed there. And hopefully Laurie will not play up on me. Oh, Laurie's doing it fine, I think. Oops, no, Laurie's in trouble. I don't quite understand what's going on there. Okay, we'll let it run through. Remembering this is the new style of core. Can it play out on the classic toy in a sense? This is the old big loader set. Absolutely stunning toy, I can tell you. It was given to me. Can you believe that? I love that bit there. And then, yeah, Cranky does a thing there as well. Thomas goes back down. And he comes back to the shuffling shed. Now let me just see what goes on here. One last toe, oh, yes. Okay, well that's a clean run there. Okay, maybe I can get this to go back onto the other playset and just prove my... I didn't know you got to do a W. There you go. So Thomas is now back on the new big loader set. Pretty fancy, eh? Pretty darn fancy, if you ask me and Percy. Really nice to see this classic Thomas and Friends toy back on the shelves. Thank you to the YouTubers who told me it was back in the marketplace. Initially I was a doubting Thomas, I didn't believe them, and then I saw it from my own eyes. I picked this toy up at a retailer called Big W in Australia. Their Thomas area tends to have different stock versus the other retailers, and I did bump into the Mattel rep there. Mind you, we did look at a TOMY toy in this video, and I queried the Mattel rep about the empty peg syndrome that goes on with the Thomas toys. And to cut a long story short, she blamed the retailers and not the Mattel company. Yet, if I ask a state manager who runs these retail stores who's to blame for the empty peg syndrome, they blame the Mattel company. Normally in my toy reviews, I analyse the boxing first and we take a look at pictures on the box, and I had one of the classic toy boxes to compare to this new set, and there was one thing that did worry me, for the fact that the new set shows the toys that have got 3 individual core pieces, when in reality the box only comes with 1 core piece. Back on the older format of boxing, it shows the core transforming between the 3 different characters, which is exactly what happens on the playset. This style of toy really suits children who like things in a regimented way, things that do a certain pattern. That's what this toy is all about. If you've got a child who gets frustrated and wants to change things and make their own thing, well, this toy really isn't for them. Building up the playset, it's quite simple. It may seem daunting when you open the box and you see all the parts. The Steckle decals in this set are quite easy to apply. There's not too many of them, and they are of good quality and they come off the sticker sheet really well. But I found the construction sheet had so much micro printing and so many languages squeezed into what was a small format of paper. Boy, I was struggling to read what I needed to read. You almost need a microscope to come in and read the tiny point fonts that they've used on the construction piece. Mind you, if you look carefully, all the information you need is there. This Thomas toy would have to be right up there in the top 5 classic Thomas and Friends toys. It's a sort of toy that holds its value really well, especially if it's being resold online. And I think the very important thing to do with this toy is to keep the original box and keep it in as good condition as possible, because when you're reselling this toy, so often the price is determined by the condition of the box, and also if you've got those little balls that are part of the playset that always seem to go missing. There are some curious changes between this new playset versus the classic one. I dare say some of them are related to child safety laws of today, and now we will go back to the table and we'll speak about some of these changes. Just as I'm building up this new version of the big loader set, 2018 version, I'm noticing there's actually quite a few changes in design. Whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing, I'm really yet to work that out. The core piece here, and I don't want to talk too long about this because I've spoken about this many times before in previous videos, is the most important piece. And if I bring in an earlier version, you can see there have been changes made. Yes, they say they've made it that it's harder to get into the battery, which are the rules these days, because this core piece here really goes back to a 1977 design. This is a classic toy, and there's nothing wrong with classic toys. Classic toys keep coming back if they're good, and that's probably why this playset has come back. The Percy here, that's a 2018 Percy, and I'll just quickly show you a previous incarnation of the Percy there. Maybe you can tell me which one you like better, the classic one versus the new version. And one thing that I notice here, and I think there are actually many little changes in design, is up the back here. It may be a bit hard to see, but the plastic molding on his little bucket piece here is different on the new version. So as for why that's different, I always ask why. It's a good thing to ask and query why things change. As for the Thomas here, that's the 2018 version, and I do have a previous incarnation which is there. Maybe you can tell me which face you prefer, the classic one or the new incarnation. Underneath, that's copyrighted 1997. Underneath this new one, it's 2018, brand spanking new. Yes, just on the sides there as well. Yes, I know there are actually many little changes going on. Some of them are very subtle, and some of them aren't. Oh, I better talk about the 2018 Terence versus what came before it, and I can land it in right here. And I can see a remarkable change of colour there in the plastics. As for the face, yes, maybe you can see what's going on there. You can tell me which one you prefer. The one I'm shaking there is the new Terence. Yes, I'm seeing, yeah, different ways that they've built this. There's little changes going on everywhere. Now I'm going to come along and put it together and put this Steckle Deckles on, and hopefully really enjoy this classic toy. I'm just in the process of learning to use a new camera, and this might be the perfect toy to get me acquainted with its new features. Now that I can look back on the part where Terence was playing up and being naughty, and as I alluded to before, that area tends to work best when there's only a few balls to be scooped up and delivered to Thomas. Remember that Percy can double deliver or triple deliver back to Terence because there's a repeat button there, and once you get a lot of balls in Terence's area, chaos can prevail. Either balls will get trapped underneath his scooping area, or he may deliver too many balls to Thomas and there'll be an overflow, and then a ball will be down in the area where the motorized component of this set will then push it to Terence's area, and then it may be on the wrong side of the scoop, and that causes tons of confusion and delay. I know some people will see that as a fault in this toy. I don't see it as a fault. If something goes wrong or something weird happens, sometimes that's the best fun with these styles of toys. And being an older style of toy, it's a very mechanical toy. It's a very plastic, fantastic toy in the best sort of way. And I keep saying to you, if you want one of the all-time great Thomas toys, if you see this ever on the shelf for sale or at the right price online, please buy one.